I want to provide you with some context around where CSS came from. This will help you to understand what CSS is and why it is important. Before we look at where it came from, let's take a brief look at what it is. Here is the website internationalcookies.eu, which is a demo website for my Pluralsight course, Building a Global App with Azure Platform as a Service. What you see here is all HTML that displays the image and the text. And here on the right side of the screen, you see the HTML in the browser tools, which you can access when you press F12 in your browser. In here, we can also see the CSS, which is code that tells the browser how to style the HTML. Let's select the image of the cookie. This selects the HTML of that image. And it also displays the CSS for the image, which tells the browser to vertically align an image in the middle. Alright, so that is CSS. I like to define it as such. CSS, or Cascading Style Sheets, is a style sheet language that is used to describe the presentation of a document, like we've just seen. There are also other style sheet languages to style different things, like XML. CSS is one of those, and is the most important one for the web. Now let's take a brief look at the history of CSS. It all starts in 1994, when CSS was first proposed as a style sheet language. Other languages were also being proposed at the time. However, the W3C, or World Wide Web Consortium, who were already working on the HTML standard, added CSS to the deliverables of the HTML working group. This resulted in the official recommendation of the CSS Level 1 standard in 1996. Such a recommendation is considered a specification that web browsers can adopt, which they did. Although in the beginning there was very little support for CSS in the major browsers. Development on CSS continued to tackle issues in CSS1, which resulted in the publication of the CSS Level 2 recommendation in 1998. After that, a lot of time went by before there were any official new versions of the standard, although browser support became better and better. Until in 2004, CSS Level 2.1 became a candidate recommendation published by the W3C. It contained fixes and new features for Level 2. The Level 2.1 recommendation ping-ponged back and forth between candidate recommendation and working draft until it was finally published as an official recommendation, so the actual specification of CSS, in 2011. In the meantime, work on the next level of CSS had already begun. This new level was CSS Level 3 and wasn't going to be one all-encompassing recommendation, but rather an ever-evolving collection of CSS modules that each described a category of capabilities. This resulted in the publication of the standard recommendation for a couple of CSS Level 3 modules, including the CSS3 selectors and CSS3 colors module. Official recommendations for more CSS3 modules emerged, like the CSS3 Media Queries module in 2012 and the CSS3 UI module in 2017. Future developments of the CSS specification follows the module principle, where some modules reach Level 4 and new modules are introduced as Level 1 modules, like the CSS Flexbox Level 1 candidate recommendation in 2017. It is important to remember that these versions all contain different capabilities of CSS and are all determined by commissions, like the World Wide Web Consortium. This results in standards that are agreed upon capabilities that only work because web browsers implement them.